Welcome to Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial, the home for financial advice in a language you can understand. Created by Marc Freedman of Freedman Financial, he and his team of certified financial planner professionals will discuss timely topics that help individuals and families make smart financial decisions. And now, get ready for this week's edition of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial.
Welcome back to another edition of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial. My name is Marc Freedman.
And I'm Marion Gilman.
And we're here to provide you with some financial advice in a language you can understand. And so today we're someplace different than the traditional office, right?
New setting, no Freedman Financial behind us.
No, we are actually sitting in this beautiful oak conference room at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina.
It's gorgeous here, isn't it?
It really is a beautiful campus.
It is gorgeous.
Once a year, we have the opportunity to attend the LPL Growth Leaders Conference. Last year, it was at Northwestern University.
Just outside of Chicago, which was also lovely, but this is spectacular.
It really is. And this year, it's here at Duke.
Yeah.
Now, being from Massachusetts, we're not huge college sports people.
Right.
But there are some LPL advisors who are at this conference that refused to participate in the basketball exercise in Cameron Hall yesterday, where they gave us Duke jerseys to wear and practice with some of the assistant coaches.
It was just the coolest thing. It was so much fun to be out there on the court. And as most of you probably know who are basketball fans, Duke has a very famous, he's retired now.
Coach Krzyzewski.
Right, exactly. And they're a spectacular team. So it was really exciting to be out there, and we had some of the college coaches out there, and, I'm sure they laugh at us, but we all had a very good time, so it's fun.
But the reason for us being here is it's a leadership conference, and
Absolutely.
So they try to transition the culture and the skills that they teach here at Duke into how you can apply that in your own practice. And actually, one of the people that leads that leadership experience is Mike Krzyzewski's daughter, Deborah.
Right, exactly, and she's taken over some of the operation here, and they just want to create team experiences, how they, and show us how the players actually work as a team, what the coaches do to encourage that teamwork. And hopefully we can take that back to our own practices and encourage that within our offices as well.
Yeah, so it's skill sets that we learn both to run a better office, as well as to provide our clients more concise, more thoughtful, more empathetic services.
Absolutely. And so we attend meetings also. So the basketball experience was yesterday afternoon, and that's one piece of it. But we also attend all kinds of meetings. They have a variety of speakers. My favorite so far has been the art of perception, and she was just spectacular.
Great. We've actually seen her before, because when we were here at Duke about 8 years ago, and you and I both looked forward to coming back to see that session, because we've been talking about it since 8 years ago.
Exactly.
So what happens during that session, Marion?
So what happens so the woman who taught this session, her name is Amy Herman, and she actually trains police officers, FBI, all kinds of individuals, both in government and outside of government, leaders in various areas, and she tries to get across the message of sometimes you have to look even harder. You have to see things and notice things that you don't actually see, what's omitted from a photo versus what's in a photo. And she depends on artwork, whether it's photos or paintings, to make her point, essentially.
So for instance, think about this. When you're sitting down with a financial advisor, oftentimes you'll go into your first initial meeting and the advisor will say to you, well, tell me why you're here. And that person will tell their story. They'll tell some reason, and Marion and I, or Christian, or someone in the office might ask some more questions. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that. What's really interesting is, as much as we listen, we have to try to understand what have they not, or what have you not told us.
Exactly. And sometimes what you omit is more pertinent and more valuable than what you've actually told us.
And sometimes it isn't an intentional omission.
Right.
It's just what each of us prioritizes the most important thing to talk about is different.
Exactly. And the other point is we all see things differently. Even what's right in front of us, even a painting, we can all interpret that differently. We can see different things within the painting. And one of them was one of the paintings she showed. It was the head of a cow, but honestly, I'm not sure how many people in that room actually knew it was the head of a cow.
It almost looked like an ink blot kind of piece of paper, and she says, "What do you see here?" And until someone actually directed your eyes to a specific area on that ink blot where you'd actually see the cow, it was difficult to see it, but it was staring right in front of you. We've seen these types of visual illusions, all that kind of stuff that happen.
But you're looking at it and somebody else is looking at it, you can interpret it very differently.
So let me give you an example. So oftentimes people will come to our office and they'll say, we'll ask you, what are one of your primary goals? What are you hoping to accomplish? You'll say, I want to retire. And well, everybody I think wants to retire, but if we don't ask more questions, we can't better assess how we can help you. So what are some of the other questions we might ask someone when they say, I want to retire?
Well, how do you envision your retirement? I mean, we have clients that envision their retirement as being out every day golfing. We have other clients who want to travel the world. We have other clients who want to just relax by a beach or relax at home. So, I mean, these are vastly different lifestyles that you want to live in retirement. And a lot of times that has to do with what you did while you were working. Maybe if you traveled a lot for work, you just don't want to travel anymore. But in any event, those all require different amounts of money. And even so, Mark and I might retire, we might both want to travel, but our travel might be very different and costs very different amounts. And that is critical in planning for retirement. You need to know how much money you're going to spend.
Absolutely. And so we might ask, what do you think you're going to spend every month in retirement?
Right.
And what surprises people more often than not is they spend far more than they think they do.
Right. Remember, you have all that time on your hand now that you might have been in work before, or even, if you traveled for work, those expense accounts are often covered, travel and all.
Right. But oftentimes, when we do that full financial planning analysis, we discover that you could actually spend more than you think you could.
Yeah.
And that's often not you're not raising that issue up front.
Exactly.
And so what ends up happening is we help you imagine, if travel is what you want to do, tell me what that perfect travel experience looks like.
And yeah, we can go from there.
And we go from there. And so when you begin thinking about, they'll start telling you places that they want to go. But what generally we're not told is, where do you want to stay? What type of lodging conditions would you like? How are you going to fly there? Because generally it's your nature to find, the cheapest possible cost. Well, what if you could spend whatever you wanted? And that's the questions. Those are the uncovered things that show up. Those are the things that show up in our conversations with clients that really help us engage them in a way that they've never thought about what retirement could look like.
And yes, exactly. They actually reimagine what retirement possibilities are out there. And it plants a seed in their brain also to say, how do I want to live out the remaining years that I have? And honestly, that's great. We really love to see that transformation in clients where they think, oh my gosh, I can take the family on vacation, or I can travel to Europe every year, whatever that might be.
And so part of this art of perception situation that we saw was us trying to imagine, what are some of the questions that the clients forgetting to ask, or what are the questions that we should be asking them to help them think a little wider. And what oftentimes I think about is clients are thinking about, I want to retire, I don't want to run out of money. Well, like we said, in many cases with our clients, even though they thought they might have that as a fear, they're not going to. So if they weren't going to, how much of a legacy do you want to pass on?
Or how much do you want to spend now to create the memories, right?
That's exactly right. And so we start talking about that. And you may not be able to do that every year until your 100th birthday because, frankly, you physically might not be able to. But what if you could accelerate that spending between, let's say, 70 and 85, and then think about slowing that down? So those are the new ways to think. When you go out and buy financial planning software, if you want to do that, or even download a free one, or someone offers to do financial planning for free for you, generally they're building a model that is very linear, meaning everything would stay the same every year until you die. And
how realistic is that?
It's not, but it's an easy way to give some metrics and measurement about what your financial planning life could look like. I also find it fascinating, a lot of the software that's out there imagines that you'll live to age 85.
And the studies show that it's likely you will live much longer than that, particularly if it's a couple, a married couple, and there's a very high possibility, as in like 50%, that one of you will live into your 90s.
Yeah, so these are questions that are important to ask. They're questions that a financial planner will dig deeper into, especially if it's their goal for placing your interests first. So we've been delighted to be here at Duke University.
We're hoping to bring new ideas back to our clients and our staff, and just very exciting.
Absolutely. So if now's the time for you to get serious about your financial planning and investment management needs, we hope you'll give us a call, 978-531-8108, or you can visit us on the web, freedmanfinancial.com. That's Freedman.
2 E's and a D.
Financial.com. You can go to the bottom of any page on our website, put in your name and your email address, and you'll join the 7,500 subscribers that get our newsletter every Friday at 10:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. And of course, if you want to learn a little bit more about Marion, myself, you can visit the website, look at all the drop downs. Everything is there to tell you who we are, what do we charge, the clients we serve, and all of that. And if you want to see more of these podcasts, all you need to go is to your favorite streaming service. You can download it. It is dollars and cents, and search Freedman Financial. You'll see years, literally years and years and years of these videos, these audio, radio shows, things that we've done with some financial advice in a language you can understand. That'll do it for us today. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you again next week with more financial advice in a language you can understand. Have a great day.
Enjoy.
During today's episode of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial, your host may have discussed specific financial planning and investment ideas that are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations. Please remember that investing involves risk and may include loss of principal. Always consult a certified financial planner professional, qualified attorney, or tax advisor prior to investing to determine what is appropriate for you. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.